Since 2014, the day Narendra Modi became Prime Minister of India, he set some spectacular goals to drive India's economy to its zenith. He set the goal of making Indian economy the $5 trillion economy. To make India $5 trillion economy, Indian government has to meet some hurdles. The first was to make India a export oriented economy. Because before 2014, India was basically import oriented economy. India imported 80% of its crude oil from various oil producing nations. India imported all its defense needs, imported edible oil, electronic goods, even toys, and the various other non essential goods. So, to make India a major export oriented economy of the world, the Indian government have came up with two brilliant ideas. The first one was Make in India initiative, and the second one was Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India. And the another initiative was production linked incentive for the homegrown exporter to export the goods at an incentive rates. So Indian government is doing everything to make India an export oriented economy. In this topic we will going to discuss that how India is making itself an export oriented economy. Now because of this initiative, India's annual merchandise export have hit $400 billion for the first time in Indian history. The India have actually achieved this target 9 days ahead of schedule. That means ahead of the end of the financial year. The Indian government is confident of clocking $410 billion export by March 31. As India has been shipping out the goods worth more than 1 billion per day. As I mentioned, the merchandise export. So it is important for us to know what is merchandise export is. As we know, a country's export included both the merchandise and services. So in this export data, the Commerce Ministry has came up with did not included the service export. As we know, the India has a robust IT services or the robust service sectors related to the IT and the related services and the software services. The India have one of the largest IT industry of the world, and India's export services which worth $250 billion, which is massive. So if we will going to add $250 billion with $400 billion, then India's total export came up with an $650 billion in total. So now talk about the merchandise export. The merchandise export mean the goods export which cover all tangible products from food items like the rice, wheat, spices and sugar, as well as the engineering goods, chemicals. Chemical means the organic and the inorganic chemicals, raw materials from the garments like cotton, as well as the garments and the handloom products. Also the gems and the jewelry, plastics and the linens. So these are the goods India exported to the world. India exported to the world and to the various nations, those who are in demand. As it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's dream to make India a export major hub of the world, so he quickly tweeted to hail Indian exporter. He praised the Indian farmers, weavers, MSMEs, manufacturers and the others for success. You can see this in its tweets. And his exact words are, and I quote, India set an ambitious target of 400 billions of goods export and achieved this target for the first time ever. I congratulate our farmers, weavers, MSMEs, manufacturers, exporters for this success. This is the key milestone in our Atmanirbhar Bharat journey. He hailed our farmers because India have had over 40 billion agricultural export in the last 12 months. By the time the year closes, it will going to touch $50 billion. And also the Ukraine conflict is also helping India because Ukraine was the major exporter of the wheat and the edible oil of the world. And the Ukraine used to export the major of its wheat to Egypt. Now Egypt is looking for India. Some months before, India replaced Brazil as the major agricultural exporter of all Gulf countries. And this time India will going to achieve the first spot again. The Indian engineering export will cross the $100 billion. Gem and the jewelry, textile, leather and all are coming back on track. The petroleum export also shown the remarkable increase. The steel sector has also done extremely well. So India is in progressive nation with an progressive exporter of the world. The $410 billion figure would be the higher, far higher than the previous record of $330 billion achieved in 2018-19. The 41% higher than the previous financial year when the India exported goods worth $291 billion. It is a great achievement because India is not only exporting the non-essential item, but now India is exporting some highly valuable essential item. India achieved this milestone despite all adversities, including the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It all became possible because of the true visions of the government. Because of the achievements, the India can move up from the current 28th position to 15th position by surpassing UAE, Switzerland, Spain and other countries in 2022. There are multiple advantages that India will going to convey to its people. One of the main advantage is export growth. The export growth will going to drive India's economic growth. More economical growth means larger GDP, the speedier way to touch $5 trillion mark, the more per capita income for Indian population. The second one is if India's export grows rapidly, then it will going to boost India's manufacturing. More manufacturing means more job creations. More job creations means stable society, the stable economy. As the India's export is growing, that means the contribution of India's MSME sector is also increasing. The MSME layer will really start acting at the frontier of the India's export growth over the next 5 years. And the MSME sector will really play a critical role, armed with all new talent and the work capital and the capital financing and the government policies. The government has already declared some of the policies that will going to help the MSME sector to grow further. There is another factor that helping India to grow more and the more in export. The India's free trade agreement with Australia, UK, Canada, European Union, Israel, UAE and the others Gulf countries is playing a critical role and the greater role in India's export. The India have already signed free trade agreement with UAE in record 88 days. That will going to help the bilateral trade between two countries to reach $100 billion from $65 billion in only 2 to 3 years of time. In this deal, United Arab Emirates will going to cut import duty on the gems and the jewelry, and India will going to cut the duty on the crude oil and the related items. The talk of the free trade agreement with Australia and the UK is in advanced stage. This will going to help the India to achieve the goal of touching the $1 trillion export. The Ukraine-Russia conflict has proven to be a boon for Indian export industry because Indian wheat is in high demand in today's time, especially from Egypt, because Egypt 80% wheat used to come from Ukraine. Now due to the war with Russia, the Ukraine cannot send the wheat to Egypt. So Egypt is looking for India's wheat. And India will going to help Egypt alongside the other countries. The China is also asking the wheat from India. China is the largest producer of wheat of the world, but the China is also the largest consumer of the wheat of the world. As we know, the India's export 80% of its crude oil from the other countries. Now Russia is asking India to take its oil, the crude oil. And Russia will going to provide 30 million barrels of crude oil at 25 to 27% discounted rate. That will going to help India, the Indian economy at a very large scale. Because Indian current account deficit is always on the high side because of the crude import. Current account deficit means the India import more than export. This year India's export touches $800 billion. It already touches $600 billion in January. Now, after the conflict, the price of the oil has touched its zenith. So, it will going to touch the $800 billion after the financial year came to an end. So, in this volatile world or in this volatile geopolitical world, the India have to play every ball very cautiously. India have to dodge every hurdles very carefully. And have to embrace every opportunity gracefully. The India's main challenge is not Pakistan. Pakistan is just an art. India's main challenge is China. The China's export of this year touches $1.3 trillion, which is massive and humongous. So as the India will going to grow, the India's challenges will going to grow. Therefore, this highly volatile world is the opportunity, is the great opportunity for India to make its export the $1 trillion mark. And India will going to achieve this. And India will going to take some time, but India will going to achieve this meantime. Now our today's questions are, the first question is, which global association released the declarations on privacy and the protection of personal data? The first option is G20, second option is European Union, third option is G7, fourth option is NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. The second question is, which country recently test fired the intercontinental ballistic missile named Wangsheng 17? The first option is China, second option is North Korea, the third option is United Arab Emirates, fourth option is Israel. If anyone have any doubt or any questions regarding this topic or any other topic that I have already uploaded, please mail me to my email address, which is tuhin.power.academy@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.